welcome on board of our Sirius 35 DS. I'm Thorsten Schmidt, I'm the owner of the Sirius company, and it's my pleasure to show you around and explain you a bit about the special features of this boat. Yes, being in the cockpit of the Sirius 35 DS, the first feature which might strike you as different to other boats is the wheel position. The wheel position in this very moment is very far over to the side, and it's quite a small wheel. The good thing is on that we can sit out here on the coaming and have the wheel just next to us, can lean on the guardrail, and while we are moving the wheel, as it's a small wheel, we are not making this big movement with the big wheels and then just this small movement. It's quite relaxed to sit here. The special thing is we only have one wheel, which is now on this side, but this is of course not the only possibility. We can cant the wheel over. So it's a little pedal where we step on, and then we can bring the wheel into the middle position, which brings it quite far up, which is good for smaller persons. They could even stand up here and have the wheel in front of them, and it's very good for harboring, especially if you're on a small crew. If you do that with a small crew, because the wheel is small and you can go next to it, you can pass it very easy if you want to go to the spring ropes or have to work with ropes. Well, and if a big cruise liner is going over to this way and is going out of your vision, you just turn the wheel over to the other side and sit over here and have a nice view under the sails or into your telltales, or see the big cruise liner again on this side. The canting wheel system, which is made by Jeffer Steering, which are world leaders in steering systems, is very reliable. It is a very easy system, a very simple system, which is originally made for racing boats, but have to be reliable. We are building this since many years without any problems. The good thing on is you just get a free cockpit. You're not cluttered up with two wheels, yes, you take it just into the direction where you want to have it. Also in a harbor, it's just out of your way, and you have the free passageway to walk along here. We have a very deep down cockpit, which is very low, very near to the waterline. This is very important because in a big seaway, if you're sitting deep down, you're making only this movement instead of this movement. So you sit much more comfortable. And you normally don't find that on other boats because they all have to have the aft cabins below. We don't like aft cabins. We think we have a better solution than an aft cabin, especially because of the slapping water, which you normally find there. But you will find that a video on when I show the cabin under the saloon. But having the low cockpit means we sit quite deep down and have a very high coaming all the way around. This is 45 centimeters going down to 40 centimeters. Wherever you sit, you can lean back and can sit in the corners and have a very comfy sitting up here. Also, which you don't find on any other boats nowadays, you have curved seats. So they follow the ergonomic shape, and when the boat heels and you sit on them, you're not nuggling on the flesh. You're sitting actually rested with your backbone and can brace yourself very comfy here or very comfy here. Hold yourself. Steer position is the same. We have a little block in the middle here where you can sit and brace yourself. When you're sitting up here with the wheel, you can brace yourself on here or on the curve of the seat in the back, and this is a bit sloped, so you sit very comfy here as well. The cockpit of the 35 DS is 2.02 meters long, so everybody can lay outstretched here. The benches are 50 centimeters, so this is a comfy place to lay down. The good thing, because we have the canting wheel, we don't need two wheels which are in your way, and we don't have the big wheel which is in your way. Both benches on both sides are continuous. A cockpit can either be 75 centimeters like on our O, where you can brace yourself on the opposite position, or it must be 1.15 meter to get a bracing position in the middle, what we have here in any position where you can sit down. A feature which again you don't find on many other boats today anymore are the cubby holes. We have 3 of them here, so you can get rid of your winch handles, get your sun cream. The big one down there, even take water bottles, binoculars, rubber boots, big things you might want to store there. Storage is another big point for the cockpit here, because we don't like aft cabins. We have 2 very huge cockpit lockers here. When you open the cockpit lockers, you can grab the lid literally everywhere, and you're always, when you're closing it, you're always with your fingers out of the danger zone, because we don't have this little hook here in the middle and the little curving which you find on other boats. You secure the cockpit locker up here, and then you find in your cockpit locker on this side a very nice organization tools. You have a big board with plastic boxes where you have your ropes and spare parts and winch handles and cleaning tools, and you have lots of hangers for the ropes and the fenders to dry things. They're quite deep. So gas box is down here, takes 2 big 5 kilo bottles. So on the starboard side we have another very deep cockpit locker, which contains a dinghy at the moment. You can have your outboard engine in there, or 3 or 4 folding bikes, and there's a dedicated place for the cockpit table, which just sticks in here and is easy to grab. So here's a small table in the cockpit which is always there, which makes a good handhold here, and where you can lay small things or stand up your glasses. But we have of course a big cockpit table as well. This lives in the cockpit locker here. So you just take that out, and you see this is a very simple system. There's nothing big on it. You just put it behind this here, and then it's very solid. You could actually sit on it, and you can fold it out and make a big cockpit table where you can sit comfy with 4 persons. Well, if you want to leave the cockpit, you just count the wheel over to the side and have a free entranceway here, and then you can take this out here and can open a real door. So actually when you leave the cockpit, you can go level out to the bathing platform and can come level in. You don't have to climb over it. The bathing platform have a bathing ladder which is in a drawer in the hull, so it doesn't take up any space here. You just draw her out and put her down to go into the water. But this is really easy access into the cockpit when you're going back to in the harbor. So in the back here we have another box which is dedicated for the life raft. The whole lid comes away, and then you have a storage place for your life raft. It did not have to be a container, it could also be a normal bag. And you find the attachment point for the emergency tiller here as well. So the whole cockpit of our Sirius 35DS is designed for single hand sailing, which is a must if you're with a small crew or only 2 of you, because one of you can always be off watch, occupied with something else, or in the worst case you have to handle the boat yourself. So for that reason, everything what you need at the helmsman position is already there. You have your engine control, the main sheet is just set up here, and for nothing else you have to leave the cockpit. The Genoa winches are quite far back, and all other controls end up here on the top. On this boat, this is an electric winch which operates literally everything: your self-tacking jab sheet, your reefs, the halyards, even in case you have to bring somebody back on board. That's all operated from the top here, from this one side. To have everything clear and organized in the cockpit is something of security as well. So you have a big halyard box here which takes all your lines in here. When you are in the cockpit, you're very sheltered because it's a very deep and totally enclosed cockpit. You have lots of positions where you can click in your life belts, and the life line is running along the middle line of the boat, which is also very important because when you're here you can click yourself in while in the cockpit, and then you start to go around, and this line, which is attached in the middle of the boat, always keeps you on board and is not dragging you around. As soon as you leave the cockpit, you have very good handhold because of the high coach roof, so it's just in a very position where you want to be. And most of our boats are fitted with the solid guardrails, which gives you the possibility actually to stand on them or to sit on them, but you can really lean and rely on them. They hold you on board. If you come to the front deck of the Sirius 35DS, you can brace yourself again very good on the solid guardrail, but as this might be a bit tricky when you are on a seaway, we have the guardrails which are raised up to 120 millimeters in the front, so you can literally walk in the guardrail when you have to come forward when the boat heels. The bowsprit, which you find on this boat here, carries the self-tacking jib and the big jenny, always at hand, and also makes the boat a bit wider in the front, so you can walk next to the furless, and you can open the pulpit if you want to go down the steps out here. You don't have to do that from up here, you can just open that and go down here. Then we have a deep anchor box and anchor storage here. You see the whole deck is uncluttered, there's no winch on deck. This all lifts under here in the front, which is not only an anchor locker. You have the big anchor winch down here and a chain box which is big enough for 200 meters of chain if you need that or if you want to have that. But you could also have your fenders and your ropes, your red ropes in here, so you don't need to have that in the cockpit locker in the back. And this stays all clean under the deck, so you're not tipping over it, and no sheets hang around the winch, so it's a very clean deck. On the roof we don't need a spray hood because we have the lip of the roof here which is catching all the water which might come over the deck, and you stay very well protected behind the deck house. So we have all the space to mount solar panels on this boat here, only on a garage, but you can also equip your boat over there, and then you will be really independent just on solar panels, depending on your power consumption, of course. So again, the roof gives you very good handhold in the right position, and also if you want to enter up here, it's just an easy step. You can walk and stand on the solar panels, they are made for that, and this is just the right height to work on a sail up here. To understand our Sirius deck saloon concept, it's very important to talk about eye levels. The whole construction of the boat is set up around eye levels. That's very important because it's all about the visibility. So if you're standing in the cockpit, you have a very clear look over the coach roof. This is only 1.4 meters, so literally everybody can look over there. If you're sitting at the helm and sitting up here on the coaming, then you have again the visibility over the coach roof and sidewards alongside of it. But if you're sitting down here in the cockpit on the comfortable benches, you have a perfect visibility through the windows like you would normally look through a spray hood, but in this case this is security glass, so it gives you a much better vision than the normal stuff which you find in spray hoods. Thank you for watching the video. If you like to have more information, just give us a call or send us an email. You find more pictures and lots of more things to explore on our website at www.sirius-werft, that's werft.de. Bye.